You go in second, boom, huge fucking Seb over here, pops off, kills absolutely everyone, and now you feel really good, right? This feels really good. Notice the pattern, right? Why?
This game because I was against an Ursa.
Okay. So one thing I would say against an Ursa is your starting item will be a little different. You're gonna go for a Quelling Blade, a Tango Salve, and then a Windlace.
Yeah.
And then your first item will be Boots after that. So these
So
items are, you don't want these against Ursa because the only thing that's gonna, it's a lane that just is predicated on movement speed, right? Whoever runs faster is stronger.
yeah. Like I said before, like I just always went Bracer just because like oh that's on my guide.
Right. Yeah. So what I would say to you, let's think about it critically. And the
Yeah.
way you can kind of, because every matchup's gonna be a little different, but what you want to think about, does Bracer, if Ursa gets on top of you, does Bracer make you not die?
Not at all.
Exactly. It's like you're putting a band-aid over like a flesh wound, a stabbing, right? Like it's nothing that you do with a bracer or in terms of tankiness is gonna make you survive the Ursa. What's gonna make you survive the Ursa is positioning. Okay, so we understand the lane is. I like how you went for the other bounty rune, considering that they weren't there, because they went top. I love that. Um, so in a lane like this, especially if you're playing party queue, you're laning with the Phoenix, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, one of you needs to go back and block the wave super hard because this isn't every game kind of thing, but this is a hard matchup kind of game. If you're against like a Monkey King, an Ursa, right, a Troll Warlord,
Hmm.
something you can't lane against, one of you needs to start here and block the wave all the way down, okay? Because then your wave will
Okay.
end up like right here or here, and that's a lot easier to play than back here. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Hmm.
And if you are scared, just don't go for this rune, and then you get this rune, and then Phoenix blocks, or vice versa. Phoenix gets this rune, and then you block. Cool.
Got you.
All right, let's do it. Like we already talked about
So
the starting items. This lane would look a lot different if you had movement speed, because Ursa's whole
mhm.
priority is going to be to hit you. I can guarantee it.
Yeah,
Um,
before a few weeks ago, I just like went Tortellini and called it a day.
mhm. So, and you're doing. I mean, you got to Divine doing that. Most players can't even. They think the items are the reason that they're still Crusader. So, I like what you're doing here. Personally, just because the lane's so hard, I would have pulled it back. So right here, I
Yeah.
think Ursa loses the lane right here. Right here. He should
Yeah. That
never
that
give
would
you
have.
control of the wave, and then you just run it back to here.
Yeah.
Because then the Snapfire, it's kind of like what I told you with the Lena Puck situation. This Phoenix is your Lena, and the Snapfire is the Puck. You just gotta battle hunger this bitch over and over again, so that whatever she trades with Phoenix, she's always taking the battle hunger damage. So she's
It's like a
never
two
gonna
v
get a
one,
positive
but I
trade.
yeah, it's like a 2v1, but I don't have
Yep,
to be there.
exactly. That's how you want to think about Axe. So then the same idea, you should be creep aggroing constantly to pull the lane back right here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So Ursa's really big power spike is level 3. So you basically gotta survive until level 3, and then once level 3 happens, you're in like full survival mode. Um, because when Ursa has 2 points in his either spell he takes, generally against Axe he'll double up his Fury Swipes damage. It's gonna double in damage. So it's
Hmm.
gonna be really, really strong. Again, I don't think you
High
should battle
impact.
hunger the Ursa at all, because he can clear it if he's a better player.
Yeah.
Just go on the snap.
High impact bracer time. Look at it. Look at it go.
Yep.
Wow.
And so again, if you're in a lane like this and you feel like they're not pressuring you, then we already talked about what you do last game. You just go ring a health first, and then you go boots. But against better players, this Ursa makes it so you don't even have a lane if you don't go boots first item. I like what you're doing here. Even if Phoenix dies, this is fine. They're burning all their regen, and it's not first blood, so it doesn't really matter. Notice how you only have 9 CS,
Yeah.
but Ursa has 15. Yet, like, they haven't denied any of your creeps. Look, Ursa has 3 denies. You know what I mean? That's not like he's been denying. It's just neither of you are getting them because you guys are focused too much on battling and trading and shit. Thing about Axe is that you're such a farm dependent hero. People don't really realize that.
Yeah. He's basically the a very core centric hero. Probably one of the most greedy offlaners.
Well, because you think about at a certain point in the game, you stop getting gold on Axe because you have to run around with your Blink Dagger and you farm like 1 camp a minute because you have to
Hmm.
play with your team. So you want to have as much farm right now because this is the only time you're getting it, right? So you want to try and get all these CS and get this Blink Dagger online, get this Vanguard. Notice how in your live replay I had you buy Vanguard and just farm waves behind the tower, cut and pull and all this crazy shit. Because you're just trying to get your gold amassed so that you can have your good timing as quick as possible and then hold on to it.
All right, yeah, this is where
And now this is what we talked about. Ursa's at like his peak mass where he can just kill you now. So now you kind of feel like shit. But good thing
I did.
is he's not doing it until after 5 minutes. So if his lane goes like dog shit, remember that you can grab the creep wave behind the tower, okay? So if you're ever in a situation and they start like camping you and don't let you farm, that's what you do.
Yeah.
They're not stopping you from farming though, so we're gonna take it as it comes. Yeah, now this lane gets really hard. So the main thing to remember is even if the lanes are hard, all you gotta do is not be the reason your team loses. And the only reason you would lose the game for your team is by letting this guy get more farm than he already is. Like, there's nothing you can do at this point to stop Ursa from just right-clicking the creeps and getting the last hits. So the real like answer is don't try. Instead, you have a
Yeah.
couple options. What kind of options do you think you have?
Go jungle, drag the creeps to jungle, and that's it.
Cool. And I would even say you could farm your own triangle jungle. Like if I don't know if you meant that jungle,
Oh
but
yeah,
you could
yeah,
even
yeah,
farm that far back if you wanted to. I wouldn't be mad about it.
yeah. All the lanes were hurting this game.
Okay. So if that's the case, then you might just want to go blink at this point. I would go like
Yeah.
brown boots, windlace. Your inventory would look something like this: brown boots, windlace, the gauntlet of strength. Maybe I don't think so because you're not gonna start with the gauntlet of strength. Brown boots, windlace, quelling blade, magic stick. Don't upgrade to wand because that's wasted gold. And if you ever, unless you get over 10 charges, which you have not this entire game, wasted gold, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then the Disperser doesn't exist. You go Ring of Health straight into Blink. And then you try to have an impact with your team that way. Oh, my boy, juking him out.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the only reason this skirmish isn't good is because you're missing creeps for it. And right now, your only goal is to get this Blink Dagger online. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
like all this shit, the second he goes to the bounty, you either get it or you don't, but then you immediately run back to where you want to farm. I don't know if you want to farm here, if you want to farm ancients, if you want to farm this, you want to farm something. This is all wasted time. But I like you get the kill anyways, but it's not really worth it. You got
It's
nothing
like
out of it.
it's not really efficient for me,
Yeah,
and
and
it's
now
just a
you're just
granny.
rotating without a blink on
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
X.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
I'm going places and I'm just dying for it.
So what I would think is, I think it's contrary to your belief, but you actually have to be more greedy if you lose your lane than if you won your lane. Does that make sense
Really?
conceptually? Because
Yeah.
what's your impact? You're behind, first of all,
Mm-hmm.
so you're under-leveled. Not really that under-leveled, but you're under-leveled compared to where you could be if you're just farmed. Look at their heroes. Are you ever gonna want to walk up and battle hunger, or sorry, and call? How are you gonna call any of them? Weaver's gonna run away, Mars is gonna spear you away, Nyx Assassin's gonna stun you, and then if you call the fucking Ursa, you just die. So none of their
Mm-hmm.
heroes are gonna like let you walk up and call them. So your only option now is to get this Blink Dagger, if that makes sense, and go with your team. Cool. So then again, that's why I think you want to just be farming lanes, not rotating at all. That's why it's like a carry mentality, but you gotta have it. Is like if you want to win the game, at a certain point you have to like say, guys, I can't play with you anymore. I have to farm. I'm useless without it. Okay. Like your playstyle is really good if you were like Legion Commander or Darkseer, right? Like this hero that can enable her team or his team with
Mm-hmm.
different spells, but your hero is not that. Yeah, see, I like this because you're getting your blink. This all feels really good. Notice how nothing stopped you from getting your blink this game except you, right?
Yeah.
Like no hero, like there was no Ursa running into your triangle, like taking your ancients so you couldn't farm them, right? He only farmed his side of the map. And if that's the case, then it means it's only your fault. It probably didn't feel like that, but it was only you that was stopping yourself from farming, not the enemy heroes. The only time it's the
Yeah.
enemy's fault is when they're like on your side of the map, which they really weren't, unless you guys let them come. All right, I like
Growing
this.
up in my legend days, all I knew was running at the enemy, but
Right.
that's
And
rough.
now you can see, doesn't this feel really awkward? You're like here, but you're like, what do I do? I'm just here. Hey guys, like I'm here for moral support. You know what I mean?
I
Like you
miss
can't
that.
get in a good initiation. See,
Yeah, until
like
I
you
have my
haven't hit a
blink
creep here
dagger.
or done anything. You could have just like, even if your team feeds, I know like they're your friends, so they'll understand. But even if it's a solo queue game, just fuck these people and say, hey guys, I have a wave top and it has my name on it. This is Axe's right here, and it's
Yeah.
my blink dagger.
Yeah, if I went to farm, like they would have lost the fight either way, but I would
Hmm.
have had my blink dagger.
Exactly. There's nothing you did. You're not Oracle, right? You're not gonna save your teammates. That's not what you do. You're Axe. You have to counter initiate with a blink. And I think you realize it now, but it's what, 6 minutes too late? You're like,
Oh
shit,
yeah,
guys, I really
definitely.
need this blink. So good, let's do this. So I guess the thing to work on is just fight less, farm more, be more greedy if you lose your lane.
So I should like a big thing that I think helped me last game is like realizing Vanguard and Pipe is like so good.
I don't think Pipe is actually good as like it's. I think Hood is really good. I think
Oh yeah,
Pipe
yeah,
is
yeah,
a
Hood.
waste of
Sorry.
gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
So like
Crimson
what
Guard is
like
also a waste of gold unless you need it. But keep going, sorry.
so yeah, like I need like at least a ring of regen
Right.
instead of a bracer because like bracer
Right.
is kind of just wasted gold. It's not that great right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's only good on like a mid laner who needs the stats. So when would you buy a bracer? Let's talk about that. Because like mid laner is the perfect exaggeration of it, but mid laner needs a bracer because every single how many times a mid laners like trade, you know what I mean? Like back and forth. And their lane is predicated on nothing other than mechanical skill and creep manipulation, right? But your
Hmm.
lane is predicated on outside factors, like what creep camp spawns. If it's a Hellbear Smasher, that's going to be a really good pull, right? Because it's going to kill all the creeps really fast with the clap. If it's not a Hellbear Smasher, well, shit doesn't feel as good, right? Um,
Yeah,
so there's a lot of outside influences, and you having an extra 3 strength really doesn't affect what's happening in terms of there's an Ursa, there's so many outside factors going on. Why would you buy a bracer? Is my question.
I think before all I really got it for is like I want more damage and more regen. But if I already have the quelling blade and my skills do like enough damage, and if I wanted health regen, I should have just gotten a ring of health.
Okay.
Like there are just other items that like do its job better.
Okay. I think the like you can go bracer sometimes, and the way I like to think about a bracer is if you level up on axe, you get 3.4 agility, 3.4 strength, 2.2 agility, and 1.6 int. So in theory, you're buying like 2 levels. Does that kind of make sense?
Mhm. Yeah.
So if without skills, so if all you need is just be a little bit stronger, if you were only level 3 in this lane, the lane's fine, and you're like, okay, I can lane here. So an example of that would be, what about like a Ricky? Where Ricky, and maybe it's like a Ricky, I don't know, Ricky silencer, where they're gonna hit you a lot, but it's gonna be a lot of pressure where you might not be able to rush the ring of regen. But it's also something where it's like movement speed's not really gonna like help me when the Ricky's gonna blink on me anyways, right? So it's kind of like
Hmm.
I need this extra level, or a hero like Anti-Mage, where you don't need a quelling blade against Anti-Mage. All you just need is to bracer and right click him a shit ton of times, right? As long as you hit
Yeah.
harder than AM does, AM was not gonna be able to trade with you. And because you don't need mana, because you don't need it, you just get as much damage as quickly as possible. That's a lane where you can go 1 or 2 bracers. So I think those are
Um,
hero examples of like a way you would go bracer, and then times when you wouldn't is against like we already talked about it, Monkey King, stuff like that. But I'd say 8 games out of 10, you're just gonna rush ring or regen, and then the rest
right.
you're going to cool.
So most games, like normally, I go Ring of Regen.
That's what I
But
would do.
if it's like a hard lane such as Monkey King Ursa,
Hmm.
go Windlace. And if it's a right click lane such as Anti Mage
Yep.
or Weaver,
Yep.
go Bracer.
Yep. That's what I
Okay,
would do
that makes sense.
if they're just gonna hit you a lunch. Nice job. Haha, so you blink out that Mars ulti. So notice how, why do all these fights look like shit? It's a difference between what I told you last game. Like I told you can't go on the high ground because you have to do this, whatever what I said. It was jump the enemies that go on you. But notice how you're the only one showing. You're the only one in the front, and these fights look like shit.
Because we don't have like a big carry to like stand behind
Right. But I mean it's like you're doing, so then like the question is then why buy a blink? What's the blink for?
to initiate.
Right. And you're only using it to get away. So then wouldn't you just want like more tank items to be the tank if that's what you're trying to be? Because the blink is this idea that like they're gonna go on my teammates, I'm gonna blink, and I'm gonna call them after they go on my teammates and ruin their day because they're gonna initiate and I'm gonna fuck up their initiation. But like you haven't even got the blink off other than to get out of a Mars ulti, right?
Yeah.
So like you see what I'm saying? Like is your play style and your items aren't matching. I'm not saying one is better than the other, but they're just not matching, and you get to pick which one. Notice how right there you didn't use your blink that entire fight other than get out. If you just had a hood and a vanguard, you would be alive right now, and the whole enemy team would still be dead. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're asking like oh well what should I have gone this game? Personally, I think I would have gone for a blink and then let OD tank. OD will be your frontliner this game.
Hmm.
Not that he has to dive first, but that you guys are your lineup super defensive, right? You're kind of like this high ground, defend the towers, counter initiation lineup. It's really easy for Mars to blink in, and then you blink on top of the Mars and call him, so he does nothing after he ults. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I see the game. Or you do what I said, which is where you buy Vanguard Hood, and then you go like BKB Blink, and then you just tank for your team and be the guy that's in there that gets gone on, and your whole team counter initiates.
Hmm.
That's something else to consider that you might want to try in one of your games. Like imagine like Vanguard, Hood, Blade Mail, and then you just walk in because Ursa's gonna have to go on you either way, right?
Yeah.
Like eventually, so you might as well have the Blade Mail ready to go. Similar to like Slark, right? Like you kind of just want to be able to kill Slark because he's weak to your damage. Holy shit! Holy shit! The fight went really well, and Axe didn't go in first, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The whole enemy team goes on your teammate. Phoenix dies. Well, I don't. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? You go in second, boom, huge fucking Seb over here, pops off, kills absolutely everyone, and now you feel really good, right? This feels really good. Notice the pattern, right? Why did that happen? Good. So now this game's still winnable. That was really big for you guys, really big. Not for GPM, but for XP lead. You're getting back in the game. All right, let's do this.
Oh yeah, I don't think I had the opportunity to go this game, but like in other Ursa games,
Mhm.
should I go Heaven's Halberd against him?
Go Yules.
Yules?
Yeah, because if Ursa enrages, you can Yules him for full duration. It won't reduce the
Oh.
duration. So it's really broken against that hero. Also, they have a Mars. So the thing about the Yules against Mars is really strong because if Mars blinks in, you can either Yules yourself to delay the combo, or you Yules the Mars and then you just blink out of his ulti.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because the main thing to think about is you guys smoked without vision. So not
Mm.
only do you need a smoke, I know that's probably like it's not new, but it's like hard to be like shit. Okay, I have a smoke, but you also have to be like we can't smoke without wards in inventory either. So I'll add another part of the puzzle to you that you're gonna have to get used to. Break this habit. You can't go smoke without any vision. Look, your guys' map. The only thing you know is that Nyx is bottom and that they're not farming this camp. But that means they could be here, they could be here, they could be here, they could be down here. You don't know, right?
Yeah.
And you guys still are like, okay, well, let's just go find out, boys. And now you guys have no vision. So because this is a 5 stack, you guys need. I have the wrong. My bad. Because this is a 5 stack, you need to tell your teammates, guys, we need wards. So this Rubik should either give the wards to you, or someone that goes in front should have these wards and put like a Phoenix maybe, or this OD, and should put them down before the fight breaks out so that you guys have an area to fight. Because
Yeah.
why is smoke good? Let me ask you that. Why is it important to smoke?
Because you don't show up under wards,
Right.
so they have no idea like you're coming.
Right. So technically, aren't the enemy teams smoked theoretically right now to you, even though they aren't? Like
Yeah.
it's effectively the same exact thing as being smoked, correct? That you have no clue where they are. So you
Yeah.
need to bring wards so that you can change the vision game. Does that make sense? Because it's
Hmm.
not really the fact they're invis, it's the fact that you have the better vision advantage than them. They're not going to see you before you see them. So with the wards, they give you 1800 vision, whereas the smoke only breaks at I mean I don't want to get it wrong, 900, 1000, 1000 range, 1025. So you're gonna see them with a ward long before it breaks your vision. So you can get in range to blink and kill them and all this cool shit. Okay, so now you know. I'll talk about where to actually ward so that you can understand either if you're taking them or if your teammate's taking them. So just ward this high ground right here or this high ground right here. Because you know your next fight's gonna break out right here, right? Because that's the only
Yeah.
place you feel safe enough to go. And then on the flip side, you bring a sentry ward and you drop it so you can get as much vision as possible, knowing that they don't have vision in this area. And then you say, okay, this is the next fight we're gonna take because no matter what happens, it's a good fight for us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So like imagine none of this would have happened if you had dropped the obs here. Also, your drow like throws here. Just so you know, like I know it's not you, but this is your team, so you can tell them. If you guys are all smoking, drow can't show on a wave alone because
Yeah.
if you guys aren't behind her, if they just go on her, she dies. So her only option right now is to either smoke with you or to go push like bottom somewhere or like go down here and farm this camp. Does that make sense? She can't
Yeah.
show mid because if the enemy team, you know, there's no reason to smoke if your drow's gonna show mid, right? Because where's the enemy team gonna go?
Where like they see the enemy.
Yep, they see drow, they're gonna go here. Like it's like why even smoke at this point? You know they're gonna kill this bitch.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Especially because you see Mars coming. You guys saw Mars coming. Okay, cool. So yeah, this fight looks completely different if you have wards anywhere because you see them and you don't get blink initiated on. I think your guys'
Mm-hmm.
best bet is to like let someone die, like pick someone that's going to be the honorary sacrifice, and you probably can't control who it is, but you're going to play all three lanes or as much of them as you can. So what I would do is like maybe it's you, maybe it's Phoenix, maybe it's Rubik. Someone pushes this lane to suicide while the other four of you ward this triangle and let Drow farm. Because right now no one is getting shit in your base. You guys are just stuck here. They're choking you out, right? But you need to
Yeah.
leave. How do you get out of this situation, you might ask? That's like a really high level concept. But you notice how all five of you are just ramming your heads into the wall, doing the same thing over and over again, and you keep dying. And it's really not working for you guys. But what would work for you guys is if on purpose one of you pushes this lane knowing that they're going to try and kill them, and then the rest of you wait 10 seconds or 15 seconds, and then you guys run to the triangle and start farming it. Remember how last game when you were playing live, the PA TP'd back to deal with the split push of the enemy team?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing's going to happen to the enemy team. Their Ursa's going to TP back. Their Weaver's going to TP back, right? Someone's going to leave. And then that's when you guys are strong enough to go around and farm without being contested. So, and again, notice how you guys are doing nothing. It feels really shitty. And now when you do leave, I guarantee you're all going to leave in the same spot, and then it's going to look like shit. Because someone might die. Yeah, look, no one's farming at all. Odie has the right idea. Odie's got it down. Now this should be Drow farming, but this is fine. Now let's watch. Does someone come kill him? Oh my god, did you just see who TP top to deal with it? What did I say?
Weaver.
So you see what I'm saying? It's like Dota's a simple game, right? And
Yeah.
then the thing is, while this is all happening, you guys need to see Weaver's gone right now, and then what does it mean? What time is it?
Go take a fight.
Yep, exactly. Or go farm. It doesn't matter which, but the all I was looking for was leave the fucking base. Anything that is leave the base, I love it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because right now you guys are in an advantage. I say you farm this area of the map personally because you know Mars is bottom, you know Weaver's top. These like 5 camps are safe right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's up to you what you do. I don't really care. You guys
I think I
go.
tried to go for a fight, but it didn't work out.
That's fine because Drow's farming. Now you guys need to do the same thing again. Someone needs to follow this wave bottom. Does that make sense? You have to make space for yourselves. You guys are letting them choke you. You have to
Yeah.
give up someone's life. Someone needs to go down here and push with this catapult in order to force rotations while the rest of you go push top and mid to get more gold. Because right now, this 18k is going to turn to 30k in about 10 minutes, right? If you guys just keep this up. Because the enemy team, they're farming the whole map and holding you guys in the base. They're picking at your towers, and then you guys are just sitting here doing nothing. Imagine if one of you was bottom right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That feels great because you still can't fight them without BKB. So you guys are I think what's the problem here, and I love this phrase, is you're playing not to lose, but you're not actually playing to win. I've not seen you guys make a move on the enemy side of the map once, right? But the entire
Mm-hmm.
game, you're always responding to what they're doing. And it's them that's the advantage because you're responding to them. You want to be the one pushing the lane so that they have to respond to you, and then they fuck up. Make them mess up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I just like, I think when we're behind, we're just too scared
Right.
to like make the moves you're talking about. But I
Yeah.
think the sacrificial lamb you're talking
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
the one person who pushes a lane to make
Yeah.
space, that like makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
'Cause I got you like you got me. When the earth shakes, when the rocks break,